opportunity for a very special assembly this afternoon. And because it is so special, we've had some guests that are not always with us that joined us today. So I want us just really quickly to notice that we have some members from Parkland School District that are here, from our school board. You can give a little wave if you're over there. Oh, yes, we're waving at them. And let's give them a round of applause to thank them. Today, you are going to hear about something that's been in the works for a little while around here. And it's been a bit of a secret. So this is exciting because we get to reveal the secret to you today. And it's going to be the students from our environmental and gardening club that are going to be sharing a surprise with you today. So to get us started, I'm going to ask those environmental club students who are leading us in our Pledge of Allegiance, our Fox Clause, and our song to come on up right over here to the middle to help me out.
United States Treet. Forever, Fox will always be.
Moon Treet seedling, so young and small, but wow, you've had experiences tall. Grown by NASA for the Artemis mission, filled with hope and ambition. Aboard Orion, almost 4 weeks in space, lunar orbiting, turning in place. 1.4 million miles. Now it's time to rest a while. Welcome to Fogelsville, little Moon Treet. Forever, Fox, you will always be.
So why did NASA launch a spacecraft into space? Was it just to send Treet?
No, NASA is going back to the moon. They will learn more about the moon than ever before.
A long time ago, astronauts went to the moon in spaceships called Apollo. Apollo is a name from old stories. Apollo had a sister named Artemis, and she was the goddess of the moon. NASA named this new ship after her. The astronauts will go to a special part of the moon called the South Pole, where no one has been before. NASA built a big, strong rocket called the Space Launch System. The rocket will carry a spaceship called Orion. Orion can take 4 astronauts to the moon. NASA will test their rockets before sending astronauts. Here's what will happen.
Artemis 1 sent the rocket and the spaceship to space in 2022, but no astronauts went. Artemis 2 will send astronauts around the moon after Earth.
Artemis 3 will take astronauts to land on the moon.
When astronauts land on the moon's south pole, they will look for water and learn more about the moon. They will also practice living and working on the moon to get ready to go to Mars again and test new tools to help them explore space.
NASA will learn a lot about the moon, Earth, and the sun. What the astronauts learn will help them travel to Mars in the future.
Building rockets and spaceships will also help create new jobs on Earth. Plus, NASA is working with other countries to explore space together.
Would any of you like to go to the moon? How about Mars? Does anyone want to be an astronaut? Guess who wants to be an astronaut?
Space flights. He stayed on Earth and communicated with the astronauts in their spacecraft. Mr. Hart was also a mission specialist on the STS-41C charter flight and has logged a total of 168 hours in space.
Our guest was also a pilot in the United States Air Force and the New Jersey Air National Guard. He has logged 3,000 hours of flying time. He is currently a professor at the Please welcome Mr. Hart.
Just roll.
Boys and girls, Mr. Hart was kind enough to be willing to answer some questions about space. And so what we're going question that you wrote down. Mrs. Snyder and a couple of people here, Mr. Hart, have gone through. We're going to select some of those questions and ask a real live astronaut to tell us a little bit about the answers to those questions that you have. So I'm going to turn it over. Mr. Hart, is your mic working?
Yes, let me know. Can you hear me okay? Is my mic working? Okay.
We are so thankful to have you here today, and we're excited to learn about your experience.
Oh, I'm very excited too to meet everybody. Okay. Should I start with the questions? Well, you submitted some wonderful questions, and I picked out a few. We don't have time to do all of them, but I picked out a few. And the first one I picked out is from Sienna Mason. Is Sienna here today? Oh, Mike, I got your question here. You said, does the sunset or rise look like the same from outer space? And no, it looks quite different. And one thing happens, you get to go around the Earth 18 times every day. So you get 18 sunrises and 18 sunsets. And when you're in space, the atmosphere is like really, really tiny. So you see the sun come through like a crescent. Then all of a sudden it goes dark and you're in the Earth's shadow. And then 45 minutes later, boom, you come up on the other side and you're in the sunlight again. So how would you like that? 18 sunrises and sunsets every day? Would you like that? That's a really good question, Shannon. Thank you. And then Connie asked, has there ever been a rocket ship stuck in space? Well, we've had some up there, but we always kind of get them back. Right now, there's a couple astronauts that are stuck on the space station, right? Have you read about that or seen that on TV? Yeah, one's Suni Williams. Yeah, you should look her up on YouTube. She gives tours of the space station. S-U-N-I Williams. She's a former Navy pilot that's now an astronaut. She's up there now, so she's stuck, but they're going to bring her back with her buddy Butch coming back, I think, in February, so not too much longer there. Let's see, then Oliver asked, what do you eat in space? Well, actually, the food's pretty good in space. It's kind of like when you go camping. You know, some food is dehydrated, and you can kind of warm it up a little bit with some water, and then eat it. But a funny thing happens when you start floating in space. Your head becomes very puffy because the fluids come up to your head, so you feel like you have a cold. And you know, when you have a cold, the food doesn't taste very good. Same thing happens in space. Yeah, so they add extra seasoning to kind of make it a little more interesting. But astronauts have to adjust to living in weightlessness. It takes about 3 or 4 days to kind of get the hang of it. And then it's a lot of fun because you can float all around and have a really nice time being weightless. Let's see. Angelise asked, how do you sleep in a secret compartment? Actually, in the space shuttle, we didn't do that. We would just kind of hang out. But you have to worry, because if you just start to go to sleep, you'll start to float, and you might bang into something. And you don't want to throw a switch or something by mistake, right? So we would take like a lanyard, and we'd hook it on our belt, so we wouldn't float too far away. But if you go underwater sometime in the pool, hold your breath, go underwater, just totally relax and watch what happens to your body. So your hands will come up here, and your feet will come up like this when you're totally relaxed. That's the way you sleep in space. It's like the best sleep ever. Let's see what else. Lydia, do you have morning and night in space? Well, again, that's kind of going around the Earth every 90 minutes. You have about 45 minutes of daytime and then 45 minutes of night. So it can be a little confusing sometimes, but we get used to it pretty quickly, though. Let's see. Ian Conway said, how long would it take to go into space? And does it take longer to go back to the Earth? Well, actually, we get up into space in about 8.5 minutes. Isn't that pretty amazing? Because the rocket has to accelerate, from being on the launch pad to going almost 18,000 miles an hour. And when you reach that speed, then you're going fast enough to stay in orbit. You don't come back. And then so it takes 8.5 minutes to get there. So it's like 3 times acceleration of gravity. In other words, you feel like you weigh 3 times heavier than you really do. And then when you get ready to come back, you just have to slow down just a little bit, and then your orbit comes back into the atmosphere, and then you heat up in that fireball. So all that energy you got to get up there ends up turning to heat as you come back through the atmosphere. And that takes about almost an hour because you're decelerating much slower. So 8.5 minutes going up, almost an hour to come back. let's see. Hannah, we asked, will you become taller if you go into outer space? Well, you do because you're weightless, and our bodies kind of stretch. Like in your spine, there's like little pads in your spine, your vertebrae, and they sort of fill up with fluid. So you get almost an inch and a half to 2 inches taller when you're in space. But guess what? Doesn't last. So as soon as you get back to Earth, it all kind of shrinks back again. And for a while, though, you're taller while you're in space. Isn't that interesting? One or two more. Let's see. How does it feel in space with no gravity? Well, that's kind of a complicated question. So you're in space and you're weightless. You're floating, right? But there is gravity, because gravity is what's holding you in orbit around the space while you're in space. Just like the moon is held by gravity around the Earth. It's just that you're going so fast, you're always falling. So it's like if you're inside a little tennis ball and I threw it, right? You would feel that, wouldn't you, in the tennis ball? You would feel like you're pressed back against the back of a tennis ball. And then as soon as I let go, you would feel like you're falling. Well, if I could throw it 18,000 miles an hour, we go around the Earth constantly falling, and you'd be weightless. Let's see, we got one more maybe? Let's see, Christian Long asked, how long would it take for us to ride from Earth to Mars? Well, first of all, you can't just go any old time. We can go to the moon every day. But to go to Mars, you kind of have to wait for the Earth and Mars to line up. And that only happens like once every 2 years when they're in the right position. So you go, you maybe have like a 3 or 4 day window when you can go. Then you go, and it takes 9 months. You know, 9 months to get there. So you better take everything you need with you, right? Now you get to Mars, and you land, and you're on Mars. You just can't come back any old time. It takes 9 months to come back. But again, only every 2 years that you have a chance to come back. So if you're going to go to Mars, the minimum mission there and back is about 3 years. Maybe longer if you miss that window, right? Would you still go? Would you go to Mars if you had to go for at least 3 years? Oh, you are all very brave. And you know what? I have a special present for you. NASA asked me to give you a picture of your school from space. Now, you introduced me, right? Young lady, why don't you come up? I'll give this to you. All right, so this is a picture we took from the space shuttle. And it's all of New Jersey here. Long Island, New York. Here's the Delaware River. So this is New Jersey, right? And what state is this? That's Pennsylvania, right? And your school is right here. We barely got you on the edge. If you look real close, you can see the Lehigh River and Allentown coming through here as it flows into the Delaware River and then all the way down. And that's Cape May down there and all that kind of stuff. So on this picture, I said to the students of the Fogelsville Elementary School, with best wishes and good luck on your missions in space. There you go, sweetie.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Hart. Let's give Mr. Hart a very big Boys and girls, this was a very, very special opportunity for us to hear from someone that's actually had experience going to outer space and what that might be like, right? This is so neat. And I think, you're invited to come back anytime. We have lots more questions we'd like to ask. Our environmental club students, you're hearing lots of connections about space, right? We saw Oxford, and you listened to our environmental club students and Mr. Hart. We're talking a lot about outer space. And I'm wondering if you heard something at the beginning, and we're going to come back to that right now. When our environmental club students were sharing, they mentioned that we got something for our school that has traveled through space, around the moon and back. And it's something called, did anyone hear it? What was it? A moon tree, yes. So it's a little hard to see the moon tree right now because it has to be outside, but it is here at Fogelsville. So we're going to show you a video of our moon tree. And our environmental special club students got to see this because they actually got to help plant it. But this is a chance for you to see our moon tree, what it looks like. It's going to live here with us at Fogelsville, and it's our responsibility as a school to care for it and help it grow. And it's going to grow. You'll see what size it is now. It's not huge now, but it's going to grow into a very tall tree that's going to be part of our school forever. So it's really, really neat that we get to have this here. So we're going to show you that video, and then you will get a chance to go visit the moon tree next week in person with your teacher so you can take a look at it in real life. is a lot of names. And the names of these people up here, and I'm not going to read every single one of them right now. There are lots and lots of people that have helped to make this moon tree possible. They helped us set up the fence for it. They helped us dig the hole for it. They helped us by decorating and getting ready for this assembly. Lots and lots of hard work went into this. And so we want to thank all of those people who helped out. And there's one other person we really need to thank. Mrs. Snyder, who's standing right over here, she is the one who discovered the Moon Tree program. And she thought this would be a really good idea for our school to be able to apply for it. Not everybody gets to do this. Only a few places in the country get to receive a moon tree and keep it. And Mrs. Snyder is the one that made that happen. So let's give her a tree when it's a baby, but the tree's gonna keep growing. And one of the things you saw at the end there were a couple of pictures that almost looked like credits. But what those are some really special plaques. They were actually created at Parkland High School that tell the story of the moon tree, and it's going to be out there. It will stay out there so that anyone who ever comes to visit our school now or way in the future can hear the story about this. So it's really, really awesome. So before we leave today, I want us to give one more special thank you to our guests that joined us and to our guest, Mr. Hart, for sharing his time with us. Let's give him a round. We really appreciate everybody who came out to share some time with us today and make this a special experience and a good memory for all of us to come. So boys and girls, you will have a tour of the Moon Tree site. It will happen next week. It couldn't happen all today because there's too many of us to make it happen this afternoon. But your teacher will be able to take you out there. You'll be able to visit it. You can see how it's changing colors now that it's fall. So it's something really, really exciting. And what we're going to ask right now before we close, Mrs. Snyder, am I missing anything? Is there anything we forgot to say? Okay. What we're going to do is have our environmental club students stay, and we're going to take a picture with Mr. Hart. And the rest of our students, you are going to wait for your teacher to tell you when it is time to go. Let's give one last big round of applause.